Welcome to our regular meeting of council in person and live streamed electronically for Tuesday, November 19th. Our upcoming events are the Forget Me Not Christmas dinner, which is Sunday, November 24th. The event is sold out. The trivia night, November 29th for the MRCC. Read with Santa on December 7th. And the Lanark County budget is Friday, November 22nd at the county building. Our land acknowledgement. The council and staff of the Township of Montague acknowledge that the sacred land on which the Township of Montague is now located and this meeting is being held is the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We'll have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. So moved by Deputy Reid Carroll and seconded by Councillor Bass that the regular meeting of council agenda dated November 19th, 2024 be approved as presented this date. All in favor? And that's carried. Disclosure of interest at this time or at any point in time during the meeting. Moved by Councillor Bass and seconded by Councillor Crabtree that the minutes of the previous regular meeting dated November 5th, 2024 and the minutes of this previous special meeting of council dated November 7th, 2024 be approved as presented. All in favor? Carried. Any business arising from our previous minutes? Okay. So our first delegation is an update on REAL's activities. Karen Schechter, welcome.
Thank you for allowing us to come and just meet with you and just update you on what's happening. I think I was going to say it was 3 years when we were last here, but I think it's probably more likely 5 years. I've just been elected or persuaded to become president of REAL because our board is a small board, but it's a very active board and it's my turn. So I'm just now the president. And so basically, Toby does it for you. I'm just gonna get them there. I can send it actually use the arrow. Okay, that would be good. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of slides here. There. I'll make it faster. And I'm gonna go through a lot of the slides fast because of, yeah. So basically what is REAL? So we are an environmental organization, but we like to started, we're 35 years old right now, and basically started with ideas. But if you recognize Ron Stewart, who's been was involved in education for quite a few years in Peter Off, began in 1989, and we've been active since then. So we tend to involve activities that are hands-on, things that we can do in a small scale and sustainable, low cost. That's important for us. Show the value of small action, being that if we all do things in the greater good, that it'll make an impact. Things that also make us feel good that we're doing actually something for the environment. Non-confrontational and needed in our community. So, and we try to, most of our activities are centered around Smith Falls and surrounding area, but we also do cover all of Lanark and Lacy-Grenville with some of our activities. And some of the activities that we've been doing this year, you probably heard about our mini forest. Now that was a great day, and it was planned with military-like precision. We got 100 trees planted and all native species, and apparently nothing's happened to it so far, so which is good. And it was just a really great coming together of people to carry it out. We also were involved with the DPAVE in the town square. So we helped remove some of that asphalt, planted 2 gardens, and we're maintaining 2 of those gardens right now. And also this year, this year, we planted 30 trees and we planted the 5 trees at all 6 surrounding schools, including the Montague School. This is something, if you see most schoolyards, one thing you notice, there's no shade in the ground, so we, and we actually tried to get big trees so that they will survive. And that was funded primarily through town folks donations as well, and we had a lot of the school councils and volunteers involved with the planting of them. And we also maintain Evergreen Avenue in Victoria Park, which is, has granite markers and pavers that commemorate community builders and people who served served our country. And if you ever go to the Real Deal site, which is on William Street, and I want to say Abbott, but it's William over there. So that we have a monarch garden on the Real Deal site. You'll see that there is a beautiful bench, and in the summertime, it's just a gorgeous place, and we're trying to encourage the people to make their own monarch gardens and pollinator gardens. We also have a community garden at the Real Deal, where there's 12 community plots that people can rent. They're $25 a year, which is a pretty good deal, especially if you don't like to bend over. You can just sit there and garden. We also have a compost demo site there that we're demonstrating different types of composting methods. And other things that we're involved in, we have our shoreline cleanup, usually in the spring, sometimes in the fall, where we select an area on the shoreline and try to take a lot of the garbage out as well. Speaking of garbage, there's always pitch in that we do every year in April, which is popular, and it's amazing how much stuff we can collect. And also at the Real Deal, available to borrow, we have a radon meter that people can borrow to bring to their house and check for radon, an air quality meter, a kilowatt meter, and we also have food cyclers that you can take if you're considering getting one, that you can take and try it out at home and see if you like it or not before you invest in one. We also are involved in home energy audits. That's Alan Leonard, who's our registered energy assessor. Basically, a lot of people where they're trying to access money from the government for grants for energy savings, they are required to get a assessment done before they do it. And he's our registered one. It's very dependent upon the government because these programs come and go. So, but he is available. And we also have a tool library available at the Real Deal, and it's you have to pay to join, but there's over 100 tools that you can borrow, especially those ones that you may only need once, and they can be borrowed for a week at a time. We also go out to events to publicize what we're doing and to try to provide information. And also we learn information from other groups when we see what's available in our county. One of our major fundraisers, we sell rain barrels. We also have we collaborate with the Rideau Roundtable. So with either through financial support or partnership with volunteers, that sort of thing. And we wetlands awareness tours and the shoreline demonstration planting, as well as the eco-literacy program coming to local libraries. And we also provide Peter Ah, he's our representative on the Smith Falls Climate Protection Working Group. And everybody, I don't know if everybody's been to the Real Deal store, reuse store. Which has a lot of components to it. And our goals there are to reduce waste going to the landfill and to raise funds to support some of our projects and also to create work and volunteer opportunities. There's this picture of it from way up there. I like to shop there. You never know what you're going to find. And we have a lot of, I always find the Garden Dome interesting because there's a lot of construction materials as well as furnishings and outdoor equipment. So it's always interesting to see what's there. And I think that you'll see that we want to encourage people to think secondhand before they go out and buy. And so we weigh and track by municipalities. We diverted 57 tons in total last year, and 6 of those tons are coming from Montague, with about 11% of is Montague tons. So we also like to think people to provide, if people are able to buy things at a low cost, if they're having their income is low, they can certainly pick up things very quick at low cost. Probably most time. We also have a free table, which is always interesting. So we can't sell it. There's certain things, we get so many of them that, like coffee mugs and vases. Those are the two, but there's always something out there free, and people just love to look through it. We also do hard to recycle items, so that we're pill bottles, pens, markers, milk bags, printer and toner cartridges, and batteries are popular, so we take those back. We also, there we see, glue sticks, I don't know what they do with that. We also are an e-waste depot, so, I'm always going, it's amazing how much e-waste I have in my house, but, it's a source of income for us, so, which is a good thing. And we're now able to accept electric appliances, which is something new to be added. So, so we take in 30 tons every year in e-waste, so. And we also collect, scrap metal, we take it to Falls Iron and Metal. We also are a place of employment. We provide 4.5 people with 30 hours a week jobs, and we also do a lot of placements through On Track and Algonquin for workplace opportunities to people that need training. And as well as, we also make use of volunteers, of course. And so, over 2,000 hours per year on store loan. And we also try to help other community groups. So we're often providing props to the theater group. If persons come in, we send them over to the Big Brothers Big Sisters. We also, for medical equipment that comes in, we'll ship that off to the Civitan Club. So it's always trying to make things, reuse things and pass them on so they don't have to go into the waste. We also have a place in Ottawa that takes our suitcases. They put together suitcases full of clothes for people that are just starting out. So I guess it's more than just the store, the reuse store. We encourage thinking secondhand first, make it more mainstream. We also have 12% of our visitors are outside, come from outside Leonard, Lazy Brendel. So we have people coming from the Ottawa area and Kingston area, just looking for unusual items as well. So, and our 2 main fundraisers this year, our spring garden, we have rain barrels for sale, perennial plant seeds, composters, mushroom compost, and other plants. And right now, if you haven't noticed, we're doing our online auction. Some of them are things that have been contributed to the Real Deal, and we have a few things that have been donated by local groups. So it's going on from November 13th to the 23rd. And in summary, I guess we want to be a strong environmental voice in our region. We want to demonstrate good environmental stewardship. We want to provide opportunities for residents to participate in environmental activities, provide workplace and work placement opportunities, reduce waste, and our programs are certainly open to anyone. And we feel that over our 35 years that we've provided a lot of benefit to our community, and that's what's happening at Real. We have a lot that's going on, and sometimes I wonder how we do it with the number of people we have, but I think that's all organizations are like that. So, any questions? Any questions?
They do a good job.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think that's, what you do with a small and mighty team. I almost wanna make it the reflection of like what Montague is to as well,
Yes.
small and mighty team, so I think we
Yes.
can relate to that, so it's amazing what you guys actually do and really push out there too as well, and the tree planting at the schools, I think was really, really cool. I mean, Montague was awesome there in the school that I'm at.
Yeah.
we look forward to them growing, obviously.
Yes.
But yeah, it's awesome. Everything that's done, that's good there, so it's.
Well, thank you very much for letting me come and speak.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Crabtree, second by Councillor Johnson, that council accepts the update on Reels activities presented by Karen Schechter on this date as information. All in favor? Carried. We have Smith Falls Library, Sarah Lynn Martin, on you representative. And over here.
Hi, thanks again for letting us come today. As you know, I'm Sarah Lynn Martin, the Montague representative for the library. This is Amanda, CEO of the library, and Amanda is beside, who is the chair of the library. So, Montague usage of the library, I know that's something you're very interested in. It is a bit difficult to precisely quantify, but we know it is significant. You know, people come in the door, you know, they come in, they study, they look at something, we don't necessarily know where they're coming from. As of November 14th, there were 169 active Montague card holders. And by that, it means that they've used their card within the library in the past 2 years. And we use that as our general statistic because that's what's used for provincial stats. So that's kind of to be comparable to other libraries. But there's like, again, different ways to measure it, you know, how many people have a card, how many people, you know, are using e-reserve. There's a lot of different measures, but it's definitely increasing. It was 155 back on September 25th. Last October, it was 115. So it's definitely, you know, heading upward. And a single card is often used by an entire household. That's not what we encourage, but we can't seem to, you know, reform people. So we know sometimes it's, you know, 4 or 5 people using one card. We did a recent survey about children's furniture and 23.5% of the respondents were Montague residents. So I think, you know, Montague residents are quite strongly represented among families. So the renovation, it's still very much in progress. There's been a lot of different delays, but it seems to be on track. So we're hopeful that we're back in the building, like us having access to it as a library ended January, open to the public early February. But, you know, we're not quite at the point of saying, hey, this is the date we're going to reopen. But yeah, there's been delays. It was supposed to be already that we were back. So a sample of what we offer. So we offer a lot of electronic resources. Hoopla is a very popular one. So it's, you know, ebooks, it's movies, it's everything. The cool thing about that is you don't have to wait. So if your whole book club wants to read the same book and it's on there, well, all 10 of you can do it this minute, right? So we have a large and varied collection physically too. So like, yes, we're in a small space. We brought less books with us, but we're getting as many books in as ever. So our storage room is actually quite crowded with boxes of books now. But, you know, we try to make sure we have, you know, books for everyone. So, you know, we get all the bestsellers, we get the James Pattersons, the Danielle Steeles, that kind of stuff. But we also try to get some, you know, diverse things, different topics, things that are a little unusual. We try to be pretty responsive to customer requests, but again, the budget isn't unlimited. So we have to, you know, look at that, but definitely more than half of the requests we get, we make sure we get the book. So there's a pretty good uptake on that. We've been offering a lot of children's robotic programs in conjunction with other libraries within Lanark. So that's been really interesting. They've sumo bots where they basically are these Lego things and they, you know, the kids fight. So we plan to keep on continuing with that. We have teen night. So that's been going on for a long time. And it's a relatively small group, but it's a really engaged group these days. We're open 42 hours per week, 6 days a week. And you know, we try to make it fun. So right now we're doing Dino-vember, so kids can, you know, find the dinosaurs, they move every day and they, you know, spin the wheel, get a prize. There was a story time this morning and I got to, you know, for half an hour hear the kids roaring. They, you know, really enjoyed that. So we try to, you know, vary it and make it a fun place to come. Can I just pause for the robotics piece? So the robotics programs, they're not offered like everywhere. And that's one thing that we really want to touch on because we had a huge interest in the robotics because it's STEM. Students
the children who go are very hands-on. It's very science, but it's also math. It's also reading. It's kind of everything all together. And what we're noticing, especially like on the school level, because I'm also a teacher, is that it's really hard to get these programs at the school right now at a decent cost. So it's really nice that the library is being able to do it, and they've been like
It's being
built
built,
every time.
yeah, pretty much every
Yeah,
time,
pretty much
yeah.
every time, because that's the interest, especially where the students are these days. That is kind of the avenue where a lot of them are interested in.
And most of that is done through a grant from the Elizabeth Kelly Foundation, so like we're lucky and it seems like they're supportive, so we are hopeful of it continuing. And we do have kind of shared equipment between the libraries too, so even if, you know, that funding went, we do have some equipment that can still be used, so I think we're in a pretty good position to continue. So future offerings, so we're gonna have a large, modern, flexible children's floor, so you know, we have an idea of where everything's gonna be, but the shelving is all gonna be movable, so we can have big events by pushing things out of the way, if we're finding how we have things set up, you know, we can move things around a fair bit, of course, you know, there's like set things, like there's a washroom, there's some storage and study rooms that we can't move, but the majority of this floor space, we could in an hour just change it all around, so that'll be really exciting having that kind of flexibility. So we're planning to revamp our summer tutoring program because it wasn't really working. One of the biggest issues we had was people would sometimes sign their kids up for a whole week, it'd become Thursday or Friday, oh, we're going away for the weekend. So what we're planning to do is we might, towards the end of the summer, have a week where you come every day, but we're planning more to do like 4 weeks and you come every Monday or you come every Tuesday. And we're hoping people can commit to that more than a whole week because people have trouble coming on Friday. So we're trying to, you know, make it work better for people than, you know, not have tutors sitting around with nothing to do. So we're also planning to do some monthly hours programs for adults in the newly renovated children's space because, you know, the rest of the library isn't gonna be quite as spacious. And, you know, we want everyone to have an opportunity to do some, you know, programming stuff up there, but also it's not really appropriate to have an adult program in the middle of the children's space when the children are there. So we plan to, you know, do that after hours. There's gonna be some private study rooms. So for children, there will be, ones up in the children's area. We're also going to rearrange how we have the basement and we're going to have a study room down there that'll be bookable.
And this, people have been asking for this for quite a while,
Yes.
especially when they exam time and they need to get out, use, you know, internet, maybe a quiet space, you know, there's many people at home. This has been something like for years now that they've been asking for, is to have kind of a spot that they can just have quiet to their own, that, you know, you can take out for an hour or two.
And it'd also be good because we have occasional kind of privacy issues where, you know, there's nowhere good to meet and people end up having, let's say, a meeting with a social worker that like other people are hearing that really shouldn't be hearing it. So we hope that we can, you know, kind of funnel more private things into a study room as well. So yeah, we're focusing on increasing our, you know, funding in our budget for more in-demand e-resources. So that's Hoopla, as I mentioned, and also Overdrive with Libby. So basically, most libraries have the same kind of standard provincial set through there, but you can also supplement it by getting copies just for your own people, and that can really bring the wait list down. So we've kind of spent the money for this year, so the wait lists are kind of going up, but when we have a chance that we can really make a difference to the wait times when, you know, we've got several people waiting for the same book. So if we get a copy, people that thought they were gonna be waiting 6 months or a year can have it tomorrow. So we try to do some of that. So our collection is a little better than some libraries that way, because some smaller libraries don't do any supplementation of that, and we do.
Or offer.
I mean, most offer, like, not Hoopla, but for Overdrive, yeah. Hoopla, not everywhere offers, it's, you know, it's expensive, but it has good value in that people are able to borrow things we'd never otherwise offer, like in different languages or, something really obscure, like there have been people who've taken out some like kind of technical manuals and like, well, we'd never ever buy that, but you know, for, you know, $2 or $3 a use, it makes sense. So they got an opportunity to have access to those.
And as you know,
things.
I use it in the classroom
Mhm.
all the time.
So value, so you know, libraries are tremendous value, so I thought I'd just bring this as an indication. So this is, you know, your average paperback these days, $25.99. So basically, a whole household in Montague, what they contribute to us is less than the cost of one book. So, you know, most people I think probably would buy more than one book in a year, so I think, you know, that's really quite good value, and that's for the whole household. So we've done some calculations recently through, basically it's this whole document on social return on investment. So basically it's, not really real money, but what the worth is. So basically it comes out to per resident that uses the library. So that's a combination of Smith Falls and Montague at $174.87 or $395.99 per household. So that's obviously far more than being put in. The return is really great. And it comes from things like, you calculate, oh, how many times is a computer being used? How many times is a book being borrowed? How many people are attending programs? So that all is like, there's worth there. So it's quite high when you think about it. And, we're a welcoming third place for community members with no admission fee, borrowing costs, or programming fees for residents. So if you live in Smith Falls or in Montague, you can, come and borrow things. You can, go to programs. It's all, I don't like to use the word free because the money comes from somewhere, but it's no cost at the time. And if you're not disruptive, you can come, if we're open from 10 to 5, you can be there from 10 to 5 and no one's gonna, bother you. There's a lot of other places where, you start hanging out all day, people are gonna ask you to leave. Like, we're somewhere where, no questions asked, as long as you're not super disruptive, you can hang out all day. Cause I have to put a caveat there, cause once in a while, there's somebody, but generally speaking, you can be there all day. So funding, this is where it's a little less fun. So basically, provincial public library operating grants have been unchanged since the 1990s, which has really shifted all the funding responsibility to municipalities, whereas the province used to have a fairly good amount. Like once in a while, they give like little bits, there's some connectivity funding and stuff, little extra bits, but the core funding, it's not much these days. So back in 1984, and I use that year because that's where our agreement is from. That's the year it was, signed, was 1984. 68% of our funding came from the town of Smith Falls, 13.6 came from the province of Ontario, 4.8 came from the township of Montague, and 13.7 came from other sources. If you go to 2023, at that point, 89.2% was coming from the town of Smith Falls, 3.8 from the province of Ontario, 4.1 came from the township of Montague, and 2.9 came from other sources. So it's really shifted over the years and, makes things difficult. And then moving forward, so, we need to have an updated modern agreement that provides predictable and fair funding. The agreement from 1984 it's really vague. Like we need something with some kind of numbers in it, I think the board generally agrees on that. And, we're planning to do more increased outreach to residents. I know that's been a criticism and that is, something we are planning to work on more in the future. And then questions, comments, and the picture here, this is some of the super bots I mentioned earlier.
Questions, comments?
Yeah. My question's about the tutoring program in the summertime. How many students and how many tutors do you have?
So it has varied over the years, but generally speaking, in the past, we have had about 2 tutors working full-time for about 8 weeks or so, and they have seen on a weekly basis each about 6 students. With the revamp, we're having some trouble filling some slots, so we might cut that down a little bit. And just if the demand comes back, then, we might increase it, but finding tutors isn't that easy. Like it's a hard position to hire for. So that factors in too.
So where do you get your funding for that?
Some years we do get grants from, Canada Summer Jobs or Young Canada Works. Sometimes we just have to take it out of our regular staffing budget. And I mean, some of it comes out of there anyway, because those grants are never 100%. But as much as possible, we try to do grant funded, but those grants are becoming harder and harder. Yeah.
Which age group do you target?
So from kindergarten up to about grade 6.
Okay, and Montague School,
Yeah, all the
Anyone-
schools in the area, yeah.
anyone can come.
Yeah, we've required that they have a library card, but yeah, beyond that.
Thank you.
So the 155 that you have currently going with cards. So I know a couple of families, they're all being issued a card. So a family of four, that's 4 cards. So is that generally the way it's supposed to be broken down? Cause I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
it brings 155 down to, if it's families of 4 that go in there, brings that number down to only about, you know,
So that, those were like the active users, so people actually going in, and what could be happening is maybe, like, I go with my boys, as an example, they have cards, I have a card, so there's the 3 of us who go in. But sometimes, like, I forgot their cards, and they'll just put it under my card, so that I'm the only active user, they're not the active user, so then we lose that number
to the one.
for the one, for, like, if it keeps happening for that year. Like, if I was to only use the one card for the year, that's what would happen. So the goal is that every person who goes in and gets a card out, uses their card every single time, but we can't like mandate that, because it is like, how many cards do you have in your pocket every single day, right? Like,
I'd say it's a combo. I'd say like a families, it's like, I mean, again, it's pure speculation, but I'd say it's probably like half and half where everybody has a card and where it's one person who has a card. And we know that, you know, there's some older couples where they very much, they just want one card. They don't want to keep track of 2 cards and they're, you know, stubborn and, you know, it's not worth the fight.
I just want to comment is like, I mean, I thank you for coming to as well, because I think the library is a very focal point of every community. And it's, I mean, I think it's well versed. I look forward to the opening of the new one as well, and I think everybody hopefully gets a good look and see all the value that it can bring, because I think one of the things as well is we got to get maybe an uptick in the users of it too as well, which is a big part of it, because when people realize what the value can be. And I think we all know that people that visit those libraries and kids that visit those libraries, there's a higher benefit of their educational level, and we want to push that to help that. So I think that's, I look forward to the new library too as well, because I think there's you know, hopefully an opportunity to increase the usage of it to, hopefully, you know, keep the reader up. You as a teacher, you know, literacy has been
Especially now with our new
bigger
curriculum,
challenge
yeah.
over the years. And like, I think that's one of those things that needs to be, like, hopefully it'll be focused on it. And maybe this revamp, this library will also help with that too as well. So thank you for that too as well, yeah.
thank you.
Been moved by Councillor Johnson and seconded by Deputy Reed Carroll that council accepts the Smith Falls Public Library presentation by Sarah Lynn Martin and Amanda Foster on this date as information. All in favor? That's carried. Move on to our report of municipal officers. Our first one is from our clerk administrator treasurer. Appointment of clerk.
Thank you, Chair. So this is coming in front of you this evening. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited about it. To recommend to you to remove the clerk from my position and appoint it on to our junior planner, Kirsten Hote. So I know that there's been discussions as far as me remaining as the administrator treasurer, but moving the clerk over to Kirsten. Kirsten has background in the clerking. She has very much high attention to detail, and I think that this is a really good move for the municipality to take all of your eggs out of my basket and place them into some others as well in case I leave. So the recommendation this evening, based on the financials, because of the additional workload on me, council was paying a smaller stipend in addition for the additional work of the treasurer. So I would go back to the regular pay. So the budget would effectively not be, there'd be no financial impact on the 2025 budget to make this change. And it is the recommendation. I think it's a good move for the municipality in general, and I think that she is the appropriate person to take this.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
I just want to clarify though, not in case something happens that she
Yeah.
leaves,
Yeah.
but that something happens.
Yeah.
Just clarify.
It's a great succession plan. It's a great succession plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it.
No,
too as well.
exactly.
It is
very
It's
important.
part of that succession
Yeah.
planning and the
Yeah.
strategic planning of that, to make sure that, and it means any individual person leaves that we're not left behind.
That's a great one.
I mean, again, not just in leaving, but things happen.
If you're away,
Commuters,
absolutely,
we
yeah.
have so many commuters, you know, like, accidents can happen, and I mean, I've seen that in my house twice, unfortunately, on me. And it's so important that you have somebody, you know.
And a very, very, obviously, wonderful
Capable.
person.
Well, that's
capable
exactly,
to as well.
we've got the ability in house, it's great that we
Yeah.
do this, so
Yeah.
moved by Deputy Reed Carroll and second by Councillor Abbas. that council approves the recommendation to appoint Kirsten Cote as clerk for the township effective immediately upon passing of the bylaw on November 19th, 2024, and the council approves the revised 2024 pay grid as presented to state to include the clerk junior planner position on the grid, and further, the council approves the clerk job description and administrator treasurer job description as presented this date. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. And the next is again from our clerk administrator treasurer on water billing interest.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to get this in front of council this evening. Our November water billings, it's done in two separate billings because we have the Adirona and the Rideau. So Adirona, we read and we did it at the beginning of November. The Rideau, we wait for Smith Falls to read, provide us the bills, then we put it through our system and bill it, it's done twice. And that went out later on. And with the Canada Post strike effective November 15th, our concern is that there's gonna be some water bills that are held up right now. And we realized that we put out on social and we put out for people to contact the office. But we are recommending that we just withhold the water interest until December 15th, just to allow people that time. And a lot of ratepayers have already called, but we feel like with the current position with Canada Post on strike that we should accommodate some.
So moved by Councillor Bass and seconded by Councillor Crabtree that council direct staff to withhold the interest for the November 1, 2024 water billing until December 15th, 2024 due to the strike action by Canada Post on November 15th, 2024. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Crabtree and seconded by Councillor Johnson that council approve the minutes of the committee full meeting of November 5th, 2024 and approve the recommendations contained within. All in favor? Carried. We have no petitions and we'll start with our bylaws. So moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Deputy Reed Carroll, that bylaw 4098-2024 being a bylaw to appoint council members to the Committee of Adjustment. We read it first, second, and third time and passed, signed, and sealed this 19th day of November, 2024. All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Deputy Reed Carroll and seconded by Councillor Bass, that bylaw 4099-2024, being a bylaw to appoint members to boards, committees, and other statutory positions. We read it first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and sealed this 19th day of November, 2024. All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Abbas and seconded by Councillor Crabtree, that bylaw 4100-2024, being a bylaw to appoint members of council to boards, committees, and commissions. We read it first, second, and third time and passed, signed, and sealed this 19th day of November, 2024. All in favor? That's carried. Next, I have moved by Councillor Crabtree, seconded by Councillor Johnson, that bylaw 4101-2024, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of the development agreement with Michael Doyon, Lynn McMillan, Mark Laferrier, and Anne-Marie Doyon, the owners of land legally described as part of Lot 19, Concession 1, Township of Montague, County of Lanark, designated at Part 1 on Plan 27R-12308, be read a first, second, and third time, and passed, signed, and sealed this 19th day of November, 2024. All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Deputy Reed Carroll, that bylaw 4102-2024, being a bylaw to appoint a clerk, be read first, second, and third time and passed, signed, and sealed this 19th day of November, 2024. All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Deputy Reed Carroll and seconded by Councillor Abbas, that bylaw 4103-2024, being a bylaw to appoint an administrator for the Township of Montague, be read a first, second, and third time and passed, signed, and sealed this 19th day of November, 2024. All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Abbas and seconded by Councillor Crabtree, that bylaw 4104-2024, being a bylaw to appoint a deputy clerk, be read a first, second, and third time and passed, signed, and sealed this 19th day of November, 2024. All in favor? And that's carried. And I have no motion, notice of motion. No correspondence that's brought forward. One finished business or other business. I'll move to questions of the audience. None, I vote online. Seeing none. So moved by Councillor Crabtree and seconded by Councillor Johnson, that council recess the council meeting of November 19th, 2024 at 6:40 PM. All in favor? Carried.
You go. Welcome back to our community, the whole meeting. I'll been not over there. Okay, well, welcome back to our community of the whole meeting. I'll open it with the lead acknowledgement. Council and staff of the Township of Montague acknowledges that the sacred land in which the Township of Montague is now located, and this meeting is being held is on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin and Shawnee Nation. So the adoption of the agenda, moved by Reeve Jennings and seconded by Councillor Abbas, that the committee of the whole agenda dated November 19th, 2024. Favor? First in the docket is just the Christmas closure for the office. Take it away, Allison.
Thank you, Chair. So this is just to advise council of the holiday closure policy, that if December 24th falls on a weekday, the municipal office closes at noon, and the balance of the day is paid. And then that the office is also closed between Christmas and New Year's, and just the way that it falls this year. We thought it was pertinent just to bring forward what that meant for the closure and, what days the office would be closed. They'll be posted on social just like other years, nothing different there. It's just basically for information, for council.
Okay, no questions for council, standard, yeah. So, moved by Councillor Abbas, seconded by Councillor Crabtree, that council receive the Christmas schedule, office closing information, all in favor? Okay. Next up, radio learning with the school, which is great. Take it away, Allison.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So this is a great initiative, and Sarah Lynn Martin, who was just here, is also the teacher that's responsible for this and the collaboration with us on this as well. So this real world learning would involve a story trail, a pollinator garden, and history board at the Montague schools. So one of the other teachers as well is going to be including in the history board. So we provided them the history book of the township, and they want to be involved. So they would basically develop it all. They're gonna work with the St. Lawrence College to build the actual storyboards. And then they'd be placed along the walking trail at the 22 acres that will be completed next season. Now, there's a small cost, so they're asking basically that the municipality would purchase the posts for the boards to sit on, which there's pictures of in the document, and staff time. So we're estimating at most to be $1,000 to $2,000 plus staff time, which we're gonna have some time at the 22 acres anyways, doing some other work. And we think this is a really great initiative, and that we should, council should approve that some of our parkland fees that were unused this year be used towards this for.
A great initiative. Open up the questions or comments from council at all? or-
Yeah, just, for me, it's very well received, something similar in Merrickville, lots of usage. I think it's a great program to be involved in. Good use for the funds too. Yeah.
It is big, yeah, the real learning stuff going on in the schools is really, really cool. There's lots going on, and it's really neat that, that the partnership that is happening too as well. I think that is just admirable and, well done by staff and, obviously our library rep too as well, which is really, really awesome, so.
Yeah, so the idea with the history board is that at the entrance of the walking trail, the intent for us is to potentially have some timbers up that'll say like Montague Walking Trail or whatever the case is. And that at the beginning, there'll be like a big history board of Montague that people can understand about Montague, how we're obviously the oldest municipality in Lander County, the first one, all that kind of good stuff. So kudos to the teachers in the school for reaching out and wanting to do those partnerships as well, because I think it's really important and it develops the kids' attachment to the park too, because they're helping create it.
All said, yeah, that's exactly it, so. Any other further questions? Because we can't really top that at all, so that's amazing, so. So, moved by Councillor Crabtree and seconded by Councillor Johnson, the council approves the real world learning initiative, and the council approved the clerk administrator treasurer to approve the design and direct staff to complete the required work on behalf of the township. All in favor? That's carried. Next up, another update on the, which is great, we got a lot of these, which is fantastic, on the complex.
Chair, so yeah, so council has asked that you get regular updates. So we're trying monthly based on if there's been some substantial changes to bring forward information to you. So there's been a number of changes since the last report of October 1st. Obviously you can see it out there, that the forms are up and the concrete has started, all the rock X, not all the rock X, majority of the rock X has been completed. We're still gonna have to do some rock excavation for the cistern and the septic, and potentially some on the far side entrance, but for the most part, it's been completed, with the exception of that. The project sign, which is beautiful, is installed out front. Some people noticed it, some people did not. It's large though. The pad for the generator out back is poured and ready to go, just waiting on the generator. As you can see, like they had the big trucks here doing all the concrete. We've had a site meeting with Hydro. So Hydro currently runs through the front. We own 2 poles on this property that go on the back side of this building. We're going to need to service that building. The intent would be to change it from an overhead to an underground. And the transformer will probably more than likely be on a pad over here, similar location to the generator, off where it's safe with some bollards. But we have to wait for that design from Hydro, but that's been the discussion. So potentially might be a little more expensive, but Hydro will not put the transformers on our current poles because they are not in good enough condition. So no matter what we would be doing, we would be replacing poles, even if it doesn't go underground.
Do we have to dig the rock for that, or will we
This-
put the concrete going through?
So this side hasn't had the rock the same as there. Even like here where we did the plumbing, it was all good soil. It's like, once they get there and then it just,
Well, I
yeah.
was just gonna ask, because there's a lot to dig it.
So that would be part of the costing that we'd be looking at, and we'll come back to council with that to say this would be an overhead cost, this would be an underground cost. So that will come back to council once we get that. I just wanted to let you know that we are asking for underground pricing too, for long-term solutions. So some of the change orders you, council was aware of from the previous meeting with the changing of the siding and walls being a substantial savings. The additional cost for the cistern to change it over to have a standpipe for fire to be able to draw off it, $3,500, well spent. So Bullnose, clam seals, fire rated beams and masonry, that's just some kind of interior exterior stuff of $9,500. Additional rock X, so we had a really good price for the per cubic meter of that, but we did have substantial additional rock and then granular bead to come into the parking area of $165,000. And then, but we do have a change order in our hands of potential savings for the alternative lighting package of $16,000. So right now, we're approximately $70,000 in overage on the project. Keeping in mind that we did know with the rock X that we were gonna hit something there and there was going to be some changes. But at this time, there's no concern as far as, the financial situation of the project. And we did have contingencies in our total numbers, so we're still well within the contingencies and, it's just really for an update. I did attach the responsibilities that we've looked after and we've been under budget on. We're under budget on our generator, and some other areas, so we're still sitting in a good financial position.
Great. Any questions? Pretty
I'd
clear,
just
right?
like to say it's excellent getting these updates on the building. It's
Yeah.
really, for us, it's nice. You drive by all the time, or you stop by, it's nice to know where we're at, so I really appreciate that, so thanks to the staff.
And it's transparent. You know, it's a word that use a lot, but allows everybody to see where your dollar's going, what's going on and how it's going, so.
Well, I think all the small savings, it shows attention to detail. Okay, well, we saved 16,000 here, like, it shows that you're trying, you're not just, oh, this is what we said, this is what we're gonna do, so I really appreciate that.
And like I said, there was a substantial amount, but as a contingency,
Yeah.
because they figured, you know, Montague's got a little bit of rock in it.
These things happen. These things happen.
Rockers, well,
The only thing I'm gonna say about the lock, I don't recall if I put it in the report, but, you can see the great big pile that we now own. So the intent will be for us to get an ECA to get environmental compliance, so that we can get a, portable crusher unit in, so we can crush it, make stone. It may not meet civ analysis for like a Grand B or Grand A, but we can use it for to do walkways and all those things. We own it, now ours, so we might as well make sure we can use it somewhere. So that is the intent, that we'll try and get an ECA so that we can get that crushed and then utilize it over here where it doesn't have to meet a Grand B or Grand A spec, it's not a road.
Recycle rock. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's what we're trying.
I think I saw this on Flintstone.
Yeah, Because we want a discount for us. And, thank you, staff, thank you, Ally, great comments from council too as well, so that's great, so nothing else, that's good, so moved by Councillor Johnson and second by Reeve Jennings, that council accept the Public Works and Fire Complex update report as information. Favor? That's carried. Next up, some engineering stuff, as well, take it away, Ally.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So these will be one of my last two public works reports, which is also exciting. because we have it now.
No pressure. no
Yeah.
pressure.
In front of you this evening, we did discuss capital for 2025, and at that time, I did advise council that we would be looking at getting prepared engineer drawings and tender documents to go out for those projects. One of the ones that was an added surprise was Birchall Road culvert number 2. So it will need to be replaced next year. We'll have to wait for the fish spawning period of July 16th, but we should have it ready, get the pricing early in January and be prepared to go for that. So the recommendation is for us to go ahead with the pricing and have Greer Galloway complete that project. So it's tender ready. McLaughlin Road Design, Beckwith has reached out and advised that they plan to put McLaughlin on their budget. It doesn't mean that council will approve it or that something doesn't change. But I don't think it's a bad idea for us to be ready to go. Based on our agreement, we provide 2 years notice, so we know we'll be doing that within a 2-year period. And Ferguson Tetlock will be the next road that has been on previous roads need study, and I think you're gonna find it on the newest version of the roads need study, that it's one of our next to industrial road. It was the next 4th lowest road for condition based on the PCI, pavement condition index, and all of the other attributes. So to get them ready to go and be shelf ready, whether we do them this year or not. I think that we would, for the benefit of the municipality, put them in both for tender as provisional items and see if we get some really competitive pricing, if we go out early. And then we can bring a report back to council whether it makes sense to do them both next year, whether Beckwith pays for it in 2025 or 2026. If we get that really competitive pricing, we can go ahead and then set it up as accounts receivable. But that's just kind of a recommendation to try and be ahead of the game on that. So there's a number of things I think you're gonna find come back a little different, like the Birchall Road, the culvert currently does not have guide rails. We have spoken to the engineer, we think it'd probably be a good idea to potentially put them in. It's a really big culvert with a fairly good drop off. And now we're going to have a dry hydrant right there too, so we'll be having big trucks kind of pulling up to those areas. But that'll all come back to council, when we get the pricing for it. This is just for council to, for us to say, go ahead to Clear Galloway and start. Oh, sorry, and financial impact, we do have money, we were under budget on 2024 capital items, that can offset some of this work, and we anticipate to have a surplus in 2024 as well.
Any questions from council over the engineering side of things, like how long are those, did they do it, like they're good for like a few years, let's say a year, right?
Yeah, so like coming up, like Pinery Road, we got that done in 2022.
And it's still valid.
So we just have to go through and update names now,
Yeah.
changes in names and things like that, but still valid. He'll take a quick look at it even at no charge and just make sure, yeah, everything's good to go. Yeah.
So that's good, no, I think that's great, and I think this makes sense to get that stuff ready to go, and having shelf-ready projects is the way to go, so. All the nodding of heads is a good thing. So, all right, so moved by Reeve Jennings, that second by Councillor Abbas, that council approves the purchase of the civil engineering service from Gary Galloway for the rotational roster of the following projects: Birchville Road Culvert 2, Locken Road design, and the first Tetlock Road design. All in favor? That's great.
Also for everybody watching TV land, having the shelf-ready projects makes us eligible for when things come up that we can apply for them, where if we don't have shelf-ready projects, we can't. So it's always good to have a couple, and Ally's very good along with staff to make sure that we do have a couple on the shelf ready to go for those rainy day situations.
It's a very good point, because Rosedale North is the exact example of that, the 22 acres, the other one, like having shelf-ready product, I think exactly, you're nailing right in the head, so I think that shows the great planning that's going on there too as well, so yeah, it's fantastic. And our last one is the Pinery Road. Let's talk about Pinery Road. The Pinery Road update.
Yes, so, this has been a long-standing item. So we do have an agreement, with the landowner for the realignment of Pinery Road. It's signed. The, survey was well underway. Council had provided direction early this year for us to go ahead and get the surveying done with anticipation of getting an agreement with the landowner. So we should have that shortly. We have started some of the work, in relation to, so as I said, we have the tender documents, we have the drawings, just have to make sure with the finalized survey that they place that on, the document basically. Again, already spoke to the engineer about it, not a big deal. And my recommendation to council is to add this then to the 2025 capital work, because we already have the documents ready to go for tender and get this completed. Because it's been a long-standing item and it's been on the budget, but it's been moved because of the lack of agreement, and the survey to do the alignment, that this gets completed, and done before anything changes.
That's a great recommendation. Questions from council or comments, or I think it's a great one. It has been long-standing and we're moving forward, which is fantastic. So I think that's the great work and dedication from staff, make sure that we're getting it right through and all the way started. So it's I think this was started back in 2012 was the first time that it was brought up. So I think that's fantastic that we've gotten to this point. So moved by Councillor Abbas and seconded by Councillor Crabtree, the council direct staff to proceed with including the realignment of the Pinery Road on the 2025 capital projects, and the council direct staff prepare an update to tender documents once the survey has been satisfied. All in favor? And that's carried. Are there reports or petitions, motions, any questions, burning questions from the audience? None? None from, that's awesome. You'll get us one, you'll get us again. Thanks, everyone. This will be, this is where I get to, my last committee of the whole for this time, because I'm gonna get to pass the torch over to Gerald for the next meetings. So that's exciting. I've been that for the last few years. It was great, and I'm looking forward to Gerald taking it over too as well. And I think you'll do a stand-up job leading the committee of the whole meetings and chairing the committee of the whole meetings.
I'll do my best.
I think we all have confidence in you, so it's good. So on that note, moved by Councillor Crabtree and seconded by Councillor Johnson, that the committee of the whole meeting for November 19, 2024 now be adjourned at 6:59 PM. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, everyone. We do have a quick in-camera meeting that we are going to go into. We will just talk to that and then that'll be about it. Thank you.
Second by Deputy Reed Carroll, that council resume the council meeting of November 19th, 2024 at 7 p.m. All in favor? Carried. So moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Deputy Reed Carroll, that council moves into closed session at 7:01 p.m. As per S.2392K of the Municipal Act SO 2001, in order to address one item, airport agreement negotiations. More specifically, 2392, a meeting or part of a meeting may be closed to the public if the subject matter being considered is A, a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board, and that the clerk administrator, treasurer remain in the room. All in favor? That's carried.